We have a dynamic mayor, you know, way beyond what I ever thought Braddock could attract.
I think he has a vision for Braddock, and he has a lot of really cool ideas.
He'll seed something and then step away.
Mayor Fetterman is doing a terrific job keeping things going in Braddock.
I didn't grow up with dreams of aspiring to be mayor of the poorest town in Pennsylvania, that's for sure. But I'm really glad that's how it worked out. I arrived in Braddock in July of 2001. I had the opportunity to start a program that serves disenfranchised young people in the community and work with a population that many would describe as you know, euphemistically, as hard to serve. We're at the Cary Furnace site, which closed in 1983 or 1984, and it was one of you know, probably a dozen or more mills that closed. They fell like dominoes down the Monongahela River. You know, very apocalyptic to have 250,000 jobs lost in the span of, you know, 3 or 4 years. Braddock zip code, that's 15104, and these are dates where we have lost people through senseless violence. The good news is that we haven't had a recorded homicide in now 2 years. Some mayors are just, at least in my opinion, just too rah-rah, and they don't want to acknowledge, you know, the issues, or they want to sugarcoat it. But if you spend any amount of time in Braddock, you quickly realize that you can't sugarcoat it. Every building, every home, every vacant lot represents history and what this town has been through. You know, our challenges are far more severe than in any other community that I've been able to encounter in terms of population loss, tax base loss, etc. We have some really hardcore issues that we had to confront. We're sitting in the sanctuary of the former First Presbyterian Church here in Library Street, which is now being repurposed for a community center. The idea for the community center is just something that I've always carried with me as long as I've been working in the town. I got my start here in Braddock working with the young people, and I really realized that a space like this was necessary and needed. In the process, wanted to save this incredible and richly historic building from imminent demise. The state of the building when I acquired it was in really dire shape. The roofs were non-existent. You had massive amounts of rainwater and debris, and it was a real mess. Mold was an issue. The congregation that owned this church that I bought it from had sold out everything. They sold it to a scrapper. They sold all the stained glass windows, boarded it up, sold all the pews. You know, even the stuff that was tied down, they sold it and basically left it to a certain death. And it was Levi's that stepped in and said, hey, we're here to help. Let's enter into this partnership. They stepped back and allowed us to do what we needed to do with the community center, and we're there to support that. I mean, that stained glass window is the money shot. I mean, maybe it's not impressive, but for somebody who saw it when it was completely boarded up, and to actually see light coming through it was a big moment. Braddock really is gentrification proof, and so are a lot of the communities in this area. You know, our problem wasn't that we're in danger of forcing out poor residents. Our problem was abandonment. You know, when 90% of our town is in a landfill, it's important that we save and preserve the remaining 10% of our buildings, homes, and structures. My roots are deep and committed to Braddock, and it's the only place that I've ever owned a home. I started my family here. My son was born right here in Braddock. It's all about the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and in any way that I can impact that, I certainly want to try. And it allows me the great honor of speaking for the residents in a lot of different situations, but to come together for the community's benefit. If it's leadership, it's leadership, but to me it's just an opportunity to do something that I hope is meaningful from a societal and personal level to others. But for me personally, I find it, really, I just wouldn't want to do anything else.